Hello everyone, this is going to be an introduction to Fusion 360, and specifically in Introduction to Engineering Design we are going to take a look at activity 122 3D solid modeling. In this video we're going to take a look at how to create the cube construction block that we sketched during activity 121 isometric sketching. So a few things to get familiar with is that if we take a look at the data panel, you should have, or at least those students of mine should have, a Fusion team. So that is mine. There is a Fusion team called IED 2324. When you go into it, there is a folder called Students. When you double click inside of this folder, you will find a folder with your name on it. Please double click inside of that folder, and then that way everything that you save will wind up inside of that folder. So the one with your name in it. So I'm going to go ahead and close my data panel. And where we're going to start is, first off, is we're going to go ahead and check our document settings. So if by default when you first download Fusion 360, typically this is going to be in millimeters. So if you click the arrow to expand the document settings, you have to click the little icon that says change active units. Over on the right side of the screen, if you click the drop down, you can choose what type of units you would like. We are going to be doing this in inches, so I'm going to go ahead and select inch, and then if you're selecting this for the first time, you can check that box that says set as default, which means that every time you open up a new design, you're going to have inches set as your default. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Mine is already set to inches. And where we're going to start is just like in our engineering notebook, when we go to sketch, we're going to start with a sketch. So I'm going to go up here to the ribbon, and there's an option that says create a sketch. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And here you'll see there are three principal work planes. So the typical kind of work plane that I kind of choose all the time is this front plane, or usually it kind of corresponds to the view cube, or you can choose the right plane or the top plane. So I usually choose the front, so I'll select it, and you'll see the screen turns into a 2D orientation. Now we can go through and do a few things, like for example, I'm going to show how to create. And if you click any of these panels, you'll see a drop down with a lot of the different options and commands that you have available. We are going to go through and take a look at what kind of geometry do we want to draw out with first. I'm going to choose the line tool just to show you, and you can also select it here as well. But I'm going to select the line tool just to show the capability and to show this tool for you for the first time. So first off, what I want to do is, you're going to notice is you do have an origin point right here. So the origin point, just like in math, is the 0, 0 position, and it's the only known point in space. So when I'm on top of it, you'll see a blue kind of square that will show up. So that means that that is the first point, and I'm locked onto that origin. So I'm going to click to set that there. I'm going to draw a line up. For right now, I'm just going to go ahead and draw a line that's roughly about the size that we want. We had about 1 1/8 inches on the height of that cube, the actual height. So I'm going to get just a little over 1 inch. I'm going to click, and I'm going to go ahead, and you're going to notice the line tool is going to keep following you. You're going to notice that as you draw, you'll notice it kind of snaps into place when I get to a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to go ahead and go until I see a little bit over 1 inch again. Click, and then I'm going to go down. Now, you're going to see that you may see like a little blue dashed line that kind of stops your line when you get close, kind of snaps into place. That's exactly where we want to be. So I'm going to click, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish out the shape. So I'm going to go ahead and right click, or you can select the escape key on your keyboard. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. You can select it from here or here. You can also select cancel. So now that I have my shape that I've drawn, I want to go ahead and I want to go up here to create. I have this option up here already in the ribbon, and it's called sketch dimension. So, but if I go to create, if you're not seeing that, you can go down here and select it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to size this sketch so that way it's in the correct proportion that we need it to be. So I'm going to first select on this line. You'll see that'll highlight, and then I'm going to go over and I'm going to select on this line. Then I can go through and I have a dimension that I can place. I'm going to go right above. I'm going to go ahead and click to place it. And what I'm going to do here is, you're going to see that here is the dimension that we can input. I'm going to go ahead and type 1 space 1/8 for 1 1/8. And you're going to notice that before, when I don't have that 8 in there, my dimension turns red. That means it doesn't know what I'm looking for. It's kind of trying to evaluate an expression, and it can't. So once I place that in there, whenever the text turns black, that means we're in good shape. I can press the enter key on the keyboard, and that's going to go through and evaluate into a decimal form if I do not want to go through and place it in a decimal. I can also click on the top line, click on the bottom line, place the dimension by clicking it over here. I can also type in the decimal if I want. So if you notice you put one too many decimals in there, it's not going to work. So let me backspace here. 1.125, I press enter, and it'll also go through and use the exact same values. Once I'm done with the sketch, you're going to notice those blue lines turned black. And what that means is that this sketch is fully constrained. And we want sketches to be fully constrained because we don't want them to be, movable, and we want it to be the exact size that we want it to be. So once we have it fully constrained, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say finish the sketch. It's going to maybe turn it into a 3D orientation. If it doesn't, you can always go up here to the view cube, click on the home icon, and that'll actually resize it to your screen as well. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to grab something called Extrude. So the Extrude command is going to add that third dimension. So once I select it, it's going to pick up the sketch and it's going to ask for a distance, or there's also a little shortcut menu that shows up there. This is, since it's a cube, it's going to be 1 1/8. So I can type 1 space 1/8, and you're going to see that it's going to add that dimension in. As I typed in 1, it added an inch onto there. Once I put on the 1 and the 1/8 added onto the 1, it added another 1/8 of an inch to it. Once I have that, I can select enter, and there is our cube shape that we have going on as well. All right, last little piece before we go through and finish out this video. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to add some color to make this model look a little bit better. So because right now it's just in this gray, I'm going to go up to modify, and I'm going to go down and select appearance. The appearance menu is going to pop up here on the right side. Right now, it says apply to bodies and components, that's okay. That's what we want. We want to apply it to the entire body. So that's what we created. We created a 3D body. And when I scroll down here in these menus, so there's a little scroll bar here, and there's one here as well. So you can see there's one there, and there's one here. I'm going to go and find the paint folder. And usually I like the glossy paint. And for our construction blocks, you'll see there are some colors that are in here, most of the common colors. Later on, I'll show you how to create some custom ones. But for right now, I'm going to grab red, and I'm going to go ahead, and you may notice that some of these, like for example, have a little download symbol. So I might have to download, if I click on that, I might have to download it. And then that way, once it's downloaded, so you'll see that that little icon disappears, but I can click, hold down, and drag, and drop it right on top of my block. So now it says in this design, I've got a red and a red enamel glossy kind of color that's being shown. And there's also, it's a steel material. So we're going to leave it as steel for right now. And we're just mainly going to go through and add some color. So I'm going to go ahead and select close just to keep this video short. And right now I can go ahead and click on save. Right now in the location, if you go through, if you've already took yourself into the folder, you'll see that it'll already be there. So right now, when I go to save, it's going to save right here with the others. But I'm going to go ahead and name this with my last name, and I'll put a little underscore in there, and I'll put cube. And then that way that this goes through and saves that file. And what I can do is, if I want to verify that I've had that, you'll see the unnamed component becomes now the file name that you set in there. If I say show data panel, you're going to see that where the location that I had it in there is my file. Again, this should be in your folder. So I'm just showing how to save this. So because I don't have a folder built inside of the students folder, but I just want to show how, making sure that you can save that in the right location. So, all right, in the next video, we're going to move on to another construction block. We'll probably take a look at the rectangular prism. Go a little quicker because we don't have to cover all the little basics that go on with our particular construction blocks. So check out the next video if you need help, and have fun with Fusion as we get started this year.